The Celtics, the de facto favorite to win the Eastern Conference with the Milwaukee Bucks hanging out in Cancun. And so that is the whereabouts, the city of Boston there, where the Eastern Conference semifinals got started on Monday. The Sixers and Celtics, longtime NBA rivals in the Eastern Conference. And Philly without Joel Embiid. Oh, my aching knee. Oh, he's out. He's got a bum knee. Were you watching this game? The Celtics, a double-digit favorite. Very rarely do you see a double-digit favorite in the NBA playoffs, but as we were getting done with this show yesterday, the Celtics were a double-digit favorite at home to easily take care of Philly, and that did not happen. That's why they play the games. James Harden lighting things up. He had 45 points, including a back-breaking three-point shot late in the game. The 76ers stunning the Celtics, 119-115 the final. Philly gets game one, and they also take home court advantage away from Boston, as game two will be tomorrow on Wednesday back in the Commonwealth there. The better story, you know how we roll in these parts, the better story is in the losing locker room. When teams win, they have music and fun and balloons and all that. But when they lose, there's no music. And everyone's in a sullen mood. They're angry and they're bummed out and all that. That's where the story is. So the question, Boston, a double-digit favorite at home. What went sideways for the Celtics? I've got Truck Stop, Roto-Rooter, and Macho Man. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a cream pie, a Boston cream pie, which is, I think, what the Celtics received. A nice, right there, boom, right to the schnoz, right there. All right, so number one. There you go, number one. Boston guilty on this night of a term known as social loafing. They were there. I saw them play, and they put some points up on the board there. But wowzers, there was no attention to detail at all. The Celtics were, on defense, sleepwalking. It's like they thought they were designated hitters in professional baseball, and all they had to worry about was the offense and not the defense. And how do we know that? They did not even pretend to care on that side. A complacency set in the second half in particular. They offered the kind of resistance, to give you an idea of what kind of resistance. And I watched this game from beginning to end. The resistance the Celtics defensively put up, and I'm not saying they're an all-time great defensive team, but at least put some effort in. If you put effort in, the outcome would have been much different here. But the complacency, the level of resistance, it's like if you've been driving across the country, and for our brothers and sisters that drive those big rigs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know how you go to some truck stops, and they have that one-ply toilet paper that it just doesn't hold together. You know, it's fragile. It falls apart. You got to use a lot of it. It's a boondoggle. It's a bathroom boondoggle is what it was when you use that at a truck stop. And that's essentially the Celtics trying to play defense. It's one-ply toilet paper they played. Philly shot 50.6% from the floor on the road in what was supposed to be a hostile environment in Boston without Mr. MVP himself, Joel Embiid, who was wearing funny clothes on the sidelines. The Sixers only played 8 guys. They didn't have a huge rotation. They only played 8 players. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris, ex-Clipper Tobias Harris, combined for 89 points. James Harden, you know what he looked like? He looked like the James Harden back in Houston on a regular season Monday night against the New Orleans Pelicans. That's what he looked like. He was great. He was wonderful. You don't normally get that. That's not the player that James Harden has been in the playoffs. This was a rare and appropriate dominating game. That's what Harden used to play like on a regular basis back in the day for Houston. It was great in the regular season. In the playoffs, he's been a guy that has vanished. He turns into a ghost, and he goes into a hiding place in a playoff series. Pretty much every playoff series, even when he was good back with the Rockets. But for one night, it was a throwback night, and James Harden was great, and he benefited. He was the beneficiary of no defensive intensity. None. by the opposition there. And in theory, and I never played in the NBA, but I have stayed at a nice hotel from time to time. They've taught me over the years that if you play intense defense, even if a great player is going to score points, you're going to wear that player down. The whole object is to wear the player down. It's kind of like in baseball. If you go against a great starting pitcher, you got to foul pitches off. You're not going to score many runs. You're not going to get a lot of hits, but you got to foul pitches off so then you get into the bullpen. Or if they leave the starter in, they get tired. Well, the same concept applies in the NBA, that you're going against a great player. You got to wear them down. You got to make them work and exert a lot of energy. And then in the fourth quarter, they will not be as effective, and you will have a better opportunity to win the game. Did the Celtics do that? No. I am shaking my head no. Harden did not suffer from exhaustion in the second half. He did not have heavy legs. None of that happened. None of that happened because, again, the one-ply toilet paper from the truck stop. It's like our buddy Sir Scratch-Off at a truck stop in Arkansas. He's got that one-ply toilet paper, and it's a problem. Now, page 2 here. How discouraging is this loss for Boston? It doesn't end the series, obviously. This is, last I checked, I'll have to check my notes, this is not the single elimination NCAA tournament, but what this is a nice ice bucket right to the face. It's a reality check here, and I do believe that first impressions matter. However, there is no such thing as momentum. So the idea that somehow Philadelphia is going to win game 2 because they have all the momentum now, that is bullshit, is what that is. They don't have the momentum. There is no such thing as momentum from moment to moment, from game to game. But here's the thing. First impressions matter. The Celtics were visiting the carnival. They were playing stupid games, and they won a stupid prize, a loss, when they're the better team. And a lot of people are calling out Joel Mazzulla as he was helpless on the sidelines as this game was going the wrong direction. And the coach who was promoted because the other coach was stooping one of the secretaries for the Celtics. Well, Joel Mazzulla, man, oh man, may we recommend a call to Roto-Rooter, because there appears to be a plumbing issue in the locker room. There was a pipe or two that burst for Boston in this game, and we know from the old adage of plumbers that crap runs downhill, and the Celtics are knee-deep in the Poopapalooza here. They're the more talented team. However, here's the problem here. It only looks great on a depth chart. When you look at your favorite website and you're looking at the depth chart side by side, you're like, oh, they're pretty good. They've got more players, they've got more talent and all that stuff. But the problem, it's the same old problem we talk about on a regular basis behind these microphones at Fox Sports Radio. It's great that you have the better team, but you have to perform in the moment. What you do in the moment, that's the issue here. The Celtics having a general, the word is indifference, on defense, causing heads to roll, at least in the proverbial sense. We imagine that the Celtics will batten down the hatches for game 2. They'll play a much better game, that the message will get sent, and the Celtics will even this up. Joel Embiid likely not going to play in game number 2, but the damage has been done. The damage has been done. Now, the final point here, how are things looking on the other side for the Sixers? And they've got this Cheshire Cat smile from ear to ear right now, Philadelphia. Happy days are here again, but it's only one game. It's only one game, and they can celebrate and go crazy for 24 hours. I think that's the general rule there. A vintage James Harden performance. Could not have asked for a better Harden performance. And we are not Doc Rivers fans. We have been on the record. We do not support Doc, but we will concede that for one night, Philadelphia was putting up masterpiece theater in this NBA playoff game. The Celtics had a lounge act, and really it was down the stretch they come. James Harden, he got the switch, and he was matched up against Al Horford. That final shot, the three-pointer that was the backbreaker, which turned out to be the backbreaker late in the game. There was a defensive switch by Boston. Al Horford ended up on Harden, and my goodness. And so they bought Joel Embiid some more time, which is good. So how do the Celtics respond? We think they'll play better. This it's not even a Joe Mazzulla thing. This is more of a Jason Tatum thing. Because the Celtics had a similar situation. They were futzing around in a game against Atlanta, and that was the game at the Garden there that Trae hit the big three-point shot from like half court, and Atlanta won and extended that series. They won Game 5. Trae Young hit a big basket. So it had similar vibes here, even though it was Game 1. So you got to channel the Macho Man here. And this will test the cojones of the green team here. We will see if they have that vim and vigor. They should have that, the bounce back and all that, because they did play like a bunch of lightweights in the second half. Now, if you didn't see the game, this is a great test to someone. If you talk to somebody about the game, and if you say, well, you see the game, and they say, well, Boston shot 58%. I don't see what the problem is. They were fine. Well, not in the second half. The game was won in the fourth quarter, but in the second half in general, the Celtics shot 44%. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combined were outscored by James Harden and Tyrese Maxey 53-20 in the second half. They were outscored by 33 points. Brown and Tatum. Brown only attempted 3 more shots than I did, and you did 3 in the second half of the game. He was a decoy. Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford all attempted more shots from the floor in the second half than Jaylen Brown. And the Celtics, from three-point range in the second half, were 2 of 12. And my computer-like brain tells me that is under 20%. That's 16% from downtown. So let's go inside the locker room. You'll hear the question and the answer on this one. Here is Jason Tatum and the one that got away. Let's go to the audio tape.
Jason, does this feel like a missed opportunity given how long they were off, the Embiid situation, and you guys coming into this series hoping to make a statement? Does Game 1 feel like a missed opportunity?
I guess. You just want to win every game you play. You know, regardless of circumstance, you want to win. And we didn't do it enough to win. So every game you lose, I guess, is a missed opportunity to get a win.
No, there's no guessing. You blew it. You sucked at a time you cannot suck. That was a bad question, though. I remember when I was early in my career, I had a program director, and he said the greatest question that you can ask is like 5 or less words. Jason, did you blow it? Like, just like that, right? Because then they don't have to. The problem when you ask a long question, it's like a hard-o contest for a lot of sports media guys. They want to ask long questions because it makes them feel like they're insiders and they know the game. But the most efficient questions is when you catch someone off guard and they have no idea it's coming, and then they have to answer and they don't have time, and they start hemming and hawing.